Everybody, it's Lisa Salberg, and we're live on Facebook today for a Share Your Story with the Hypertrophic Cardiomyopathy Association. In a few moments, we're going to bring one of our amazing clients online with us, and she's going to share her story about life with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. If you would like to share your story with others, please contact the HCMA by emailing us at support@4hcm.org and tell us you'd like to share your story. We'll set up a call and we'll get you on air to share your story with everybody. So we will begin here in just 1 second. I'm going to let a couple more people populate while I've got you here. And before we go live, I just want to let you know that I've just come back from a wonderful trip to California, and it looks like we're going to have a new program in the San Diego area. And earlier this month, we visited a program in Maryland. So it looks like we'll have 2 new HCM programs very shortly for you. So stay tuned for more information on that. Now I'm going to invite in Susan Shapiro. Welcome, Susan.
Hi, Lisa.
It's nice to have you on our Facebook page, and hopefully we'll have some people joining us soon, and if not, they'll be seeing us later. So I wanted to let you begin by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, again, I'm Susan Shapiro. I live in Lambertville, New Jersey, and I have 2 sons who are grown, and I am married to a wonderful man named Andy Ryder.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your family.
I have 3 brothers, and my brothers mostly live in the Ohio, Kentucky area. And I don't have my parents living anymore. I have lots of cousins.
And when was the first time your family heard hypertrophic cardiomyopathy?
Well, now that's one of those questions because we first heard
IHSS.
IHSS.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure. My grandmother died of heart disease in 1960, so I don't know if they attached that word to it yet. But my aunt died at age 36 in 1965, and so we heard that word then. And she left 5 children.
Wow. Okay. And when did HCM kind of hit your generation?
Actually, in 1977, my uncle went to join a health club, and they diagnosed him with HCM. And yeah, I don't know why they let him go get a physical, but at that point they realized that this is a thing where the whole family needs to be tested. And I remember going to Pittsburgh to the hospital there for an echo, and I went with my mom and my brother Mark, and the 2 of them were diagnosed at that time. I was cleared, and I have 2 other brothers, and we were cleared initially.
Okay. Susan, we did have a technical comment brought up. If you could step up, come a little bit closer to your microphone. We're getting a little feedback on you.
Okay.
So sorry about that. A little bit better, I think.
Okay.
Okay. So now you've got an echo. Did you get a diagnosis at that time?
I was cleared.
You were cleared. Okay. So when did that change?
That changed in 2010. I was checked a few more times. And cleared each time, but I had really bad allergies, and I went to see a physician's assistant, and he mentioned I had a murmur. Yeah, and he dismissed it like they always do. And I said, "Well, let me tell you about my family history," and and that's when I was sent for an echo.
And had anybody else in the family in your generation been diagnosed to that point?
Only my brother Mark. He was diagnosed in 1977 when we were initially screened.
Okay. And were either of your parents diagnosed at that point?
Yes, my mother.
So your mother and your brother, now you. And
Right.
that brings us up to about 2010-ish.
Yeah, just the step that we missed is that my mother did die sudden cardiac arrest in 1979, 2 years after we were tested.
And how old was Mom?
47.
very young.
Yeah.
Might not have seemed it back then, but it sure does now, doesn't it?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So now mom has passed. She had a cardiac arrest. Your brother's diagnosed. You're diagnosed. Did anybody in the family have a defibrillator yet in 2010?
No.
Okay. And what happened? Who'd you meet in 2010, 11-ish?
I met you. Actually, my brother Mark, who again had been diagnosed back in the 70s, said, "You want to talk to this lady, Lisa Sahlberg." And I remember when I talked to you and told you my story, that they were going to recommend an ICD for me. I was shocked because I thought I'm healthy. I was jogging. But it paved the way for me. So when they said I should get it, it was an easy decision.
So you got your ICD. What about the rest of your family? What happened after 2010?
Well, my twin brother did go see Harry Lever shortly thereafter. I learned as much as I could. I shared that information with my family, and my twin saw Dr. Lever, and he insisted on placing an ICD. I mean, he said, "Come to the hospital now and wait until I can get it." And then it took longer for my other two brothers to finally get an ICD.
So unfortunately, I'm hearing that we're getting some bad audio quality. So I'm going to be a little off script here, and I'm going to do this in a 2-part series. So I'm going to disconnect in a second, and we're going to continue this conversation in just a minute. We're going to reconnect so that we can maybe fix the audio. We are living in the digital age, so I apologize for this inconvenience, but we'll be back with the rest of Susan's story in just a few moments.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We had some technical difficulties, so we're sorry about that. But we wanted to get back to Susan Shapiro's amazing story of life with HCM. And because the audio was so bad in the last episode, we're going to go backwards a little bit. So, Susan, you were telling us that you live in Lambertville, New Jersey, and you have 2 children of your own who are grown, and you have a family history where your mother's been diagnosed and passed away in 1979 of sudden cardiac arrest related to HCM, and your brother was diagnosed, and then your twin was diagnosed after you were diagnosed in 2010. Is that it in a nutshell?
That's it.
Okay. So now we're up to date, and we're in about 2010-11, and your brother's been assessed, and they want to put a device in.
Yeah, so when my twin brother was diagnosed, Dr. Lever pretty much said, "Come to the hospital right now, wait till I can put a device in." And he called me and said, "What should I do?" And then I explained to him who Dr. Lever was and that he should do whatever Dr. Lever says. And thankfully he did, because it saved his life.
Okay. And how long did it take for that device to have a therapeutic event?
7 years. It just happened this past December. My twin had 2 mini strokes, and he was in AFib, and he was awakened by the device going off.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So your device, has it ever gone off?
No, I've never even been detected as having an arrhythmia. I'm the boarding patient, and that's fine. But I think me getting a device placed made it easier for my brothers to go ahead and get that done, because that's ultimately was the right thing for them to do.
Now, has anybody else in the family been diagnosed with HCM?
Yes, my other 2 brothers, as I mentioned, my twin, and then my oldest brother also was diagnosed. So out of my brothers and I, were 4 for 4.
And how about their children?
Let's see, I don't think any of their children have it. I have to go through. Not everyone has been tested. It's being worked on. And my brother Mark's son, Scotty, was diagnosed as a child, and he died at age 20.
And he did not have a device.
He did not.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that? That's about 8 years?
I think that's 5 years now. Scotty was a brilliant athlete, and that's after I had gone to your seminars and thought I knew a lot, but Scotty always had a AED on the field. His coaches had it, and because you hear about athletes dying, and that makes news. There's a lot of witness to that, but you don't think about them going in their sleep, which I should have. I feel like I should have known, because that's how my mother went.
Right.
But that's what happened.
Scotty was 20 years old. He was a college student in Ohio, and he died in his sleep in a dorm room or an apartment.
Right.
And then everybody started to take it a little bit more seriously, and your family didn't they?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, we're very sorry for the loss of your nephew. That is a horrible event.
Thank you.
And I wish we didn't have that happen. It does speak to the power of devices and knowing family history. It's really important. And at the very least, Scotty can be a teacher for all of us today, and we can learn from him. So now that your family has been through this multi-generational event with HCM, your mom, your generation, your nephew, what do you think other families should know when they have HCM in a family? What do you think they should know about and care about and do?
I think the most important thing, well, first of all, contacting the HCMA and getting a roadmap for what you should do, what you should ask, and what you should think about. I mean, that's made all the difference for me. I don't know if it would have been an easy decision for me to get a device if I hadn't spoken with you first, because I really don't have many symptoms. Now I have more as I get older, but I might have said no if you hadn't paved the way. And it's made a huge difference, because all of my family, my 3 brothers all have one. So HCMA is a very important organization to me, and I'm a big supporter, and I'll continue to be. Another thing is going to a center of excellence. Just over and over again, I hear stories about missed diagnosis or incorrect diagnosis. Once you get to a center of excellence, you're getting the best possible care, and that you can trust your doctor. And I just can't recommend that strongly enough.
Now, what about how would you communicate with family members who just don't think it's important?
That's a tough one.
There's not a good answer here.
There is no good answer. I think all you can do, and I tell you, I press pretty hard. I've cried, but what I have done is I've provided the information about how to reach you on the HCMA. Mm-hmm. I've told my story to them. I think telling personal stories helps. I've given the information, and then that's about all you can do. They have to make their own decision, and I think that's the hardest thing of all. I don't completely let it go. I'll bring it up when the time is right, but you also have to maintain the relationship. So
yeah,
it's a tough one.
It is a hard one. So that's within an HCM family, but what about the lay public out there, people who don't live HCM every day? What do you think they should know or understand about HCM or heart disease in relatively young, healthy people?
Well, I think they should know how common HCM it's. I think when I was first diagnosed, we thought it was 1 in 500. Now it's 1 in 200. I think they should have risks, pay attention to family history. If that uncle died suddenly, start asking those questions, start thinking about a risk assessment. And certainly if your child is going to play sports, have that take that risk assessment, that questionnaire that asks those questions about, do you have a murmur? Do you have family history of some cardiac arrest or heart disease, things like that. I think that's really important.
So here in New Jersey, we now ask all of those questions in every well child examination, ages 1 to 19. We are the only state in the union currently who has included the American Heart Association 14-point screening for heart disease in athletes for all children, because all children really are athletes, whether they're playing gym or in a recreational sport. So we agree with you 100% on that, and we're hoping that more states will, inquire as to how to bring these laws to the table, because they didn't cost anything. They don't change the healthcare system at all in terms of new access points. It's using what we have and being smart about it. So hopefully we can get some other states to do what we're doing.
I hope so.
I know. So now that we talked a little bit about advocacy, I know you are very, very passionate about healthcare access and that you've been very active in this front. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and how you think others might be able to get involved.
Well, I want to start with a personal story about that. I mentioned before, I have a twin brother. My twin brother is one of those people who worked very hard all his life, doing a lot of government contract work. But when that work dried up and he didn't have income, he just didn't go see the doctor. He's not one to go see the doctor a lot anyway. As a result of not being followed up, though, he was not aware that he was deteriorating. He wasn't aware he was in AFib. And as a result, he ended up having a medical crisis. And I think that could have been avoided. What I think is important is getting, everyone should have access to quality health care no matter whether you're working or not. And I'm getting feedback now. I don't know if you are.
Sounds good here.
Yeah. I believe that all human life is precious. Everyone should have access to quality health care. And I would suggest that if you see it that way, you should vote for legislators who share your values. So voting is important.
I know I've seen you out there in your Lady Liberty outfit and participating in marches and events around the state to bring awareness. So congratulations on your activism, and we could all learn a little bit from that. Regarding, we're not talking about being on one end of the political spectrum or another. I think we can all agree that it's really important to have conversation and to get everybody out to participate in government and make it work for all of us. We may not always agree on how everything should be done, and Lord knows in this country there's a lot of divisiveness now, but I think some good conversation and some common sense can go a long, long way. So I applaud you for your activism. So, now that we're, downstream a little bit and things have happened in your family, we've lost some people to HCM, we have other people living with it and managing it, and have had some not so great events. Your brother's 2 strokes recently. I know you called me as soon as they happened, and we got in there and made sure that he got back to Cleveland. We got him, set up on some basic health care so that he could get the care that he needed. What are your hopes and dreams for the future with your family and HCM? If you could write the textbook here as to what happens next, what would it say?
I'd want to have assurance that every single family member has been tested, that everyone who's positive gets to a center of excellence. And we have identified the genetic mutation in my family. So it's easy. It's a blood test to get a genetic test to see if you have it or not. So I'd like all of them to be tested and then go through the steps of getting a pathway from the HCMA and going to the center of excellence.
Fantastic. So I've announced that we're going to have a Q&A coming up. So if anybody wants to ask a question or make a comment, they can do so now. And Susan and I will be talking here for a minute while you do that. So we know that the work of the HCMA is really important in making these things happen and making sure that these high quality programs called Centers of Excellence are available for people. And again, I'm happy to say we have probably 4 more coming on board in the next board meeting. So yay, more access, easier access to people in areas, honestly, that really didn't have the access before. So this is not just another one in a town that we've already got somebody in. These are places we don't have coverage at this time. So that's a good thing. And hopefully some of your family members will be able to, use some of these new programs. But we need to make sure that all of our family members are being screened. I even have family members who have yet to be evaluated appropriately and choose just not to be. So I know that this is a major issue for lots of people in HCM families. Your family members don't always want to take healthcare information from their sister, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin, fill in the blank. You're that relationship to them. You're not their healthcare provider. But sometimes your family knows, and maybe you should listen. So maybe they should share this video with their family members who are still on the fence about getting screened. Does it hurt to get screened?
Not at all.
What did they do?
Well, they just did an echo. I mean, they basically rub the,
Wand.
wand, thank you, on your heart.
And they take an ultrasound. No needles, no pain, just some goop on your chest for a little bit, an echo. And then if need be, an MRI in today's world, but you have a device so that wouldn't be doing that. So it's painless. So to families out there who are on the fence and afraid, it's better to find out and assess your risk than to go without knowing. So we don't have a lot of questions today. Amy made a comment, but unfortunately it's going to be a meme, and I'm guessing it's a high five knowing her, but we can't see the meme or the emoji.
I see it. It's a high five.
Oh, it's a high five? Okay, I could not see it on my side. Okay, I had a feeling, just knowing her, she would do that. So, Susan, is there anything you'd like to tell the viewers today before we wrap up about your journey with HCM?
Lisa, I just want to thank you for all the help you've given me and my family. I got to tear up because you've been there for me. Unfortunately, have had twice. And I just really appreciate everything you've done for me and my family.
Well, the HCMA is very, very happy to be able to be here to do that for you guys and for other families as well. So if anybody needs any assistance, they can always contact the office directly, and we'll be more than happy to help their families as well. We have a fantastic team here at the HCMA, and between Carolyn, Donna, and Nicole, we'll all be happy to help you here as best we can. So, Susan, thank you for being brave enough to share your very detailed story of HCM and how it's impacted your family from, you're able to be active with your ICD to the sad losses that your family has had to face. So we are one big-hearted family, and we're all in it together. So thanks for sharing the story.
Thanks.
All right, guys, if you have any comments or questions after this video has aired, it is May 2nd at about 12:40 p.m. Eastern time. We will check in on the messages later, but these things tend to go viral once we're done with them. So if we don't answer right away, it's because we're not live anymore. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks.